Hello!
Hello.
Welcome to Laylo Season 2. Today we have a very sleepy room next to me. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
In Seoul.
This is a dangerous concept for someone who
Yeah.
just got off a 10-hour flight.
Yeah, that's true.
But I am very excited. I think I'm about to, I don't know, it feels like therapy. This is great.
I mean, that's great. That was the whole point.
Okay, great.
So there's a thing that my close friend has always asked me when he checks in on me, and I'm gonna credit it to you, Enmar. Love
Okay.
you. Shout out to you. And he always asks me how my human's doing. So how's your human doing?
How is my human doing? It's almost like you asked me if I'm like pregnant. It's like, how's like my little
Yeah.
human in me?
Yeah.
My human is, that's an interesting question. I'm trying to like unpack that. Yeah, it's like, it's calm. It's calm and
That's
it's
great.
relaxed and and I'm feeling like very, like not even just physically calm and comfortable. Like I am genuinely having a good time. Very happy to be here in Seoul.
That's amazing. Like more of a peaceful state.
Very peaceful.
That's actually amazing.
Even
because
before I got here, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing because I know that when we're filming this, like your album's about to drop in 10 days.
Oh, don't say
So that's
that. Now I'm not peaceful.
Oh, shit, sorry. I brought up the one thing.
Yeah, I was trying to
I was
gatekeep
like,
that for
wait,
myself.
how are you in so much peace?
Yeah.
But that's why I'm checking in on your human because,
yes.
as much as exciting it is, it is also maybe pressure. Also, I don't know what you're feeling. Maybe it is
No.
pure excitement.
I feel everything under the sun when it comes to like the album. Obviously, like nerves, anxious, but like obviously excited. There's also like a relief. There's also like some sort of like what next. Like I mean, obviously I've got like a whole tour and stuff like that. But like once it's out, it's like then. I've got to start thinking about the next record, Like I don't even started thinking about that yet. And now that's what's kind of the main thing that's like, wow, once I put it out, it's not like I can just stop.
Right.
It's like, you got to keep going.
Do you think that was your past, like, let's say past 10 years, like seven to 10 years?
Almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Since I was like 13, 14 is when I started making music. So yeah.
How was that relationship like? Because you started so early and leading up to now, like just being in the industry and growing up so fast in that sense. How was your relationship and experience with that?
Yeah, it's definitely strange to kind of look back at, at least like the music or in general just my career from when I was that young, because it's hard to recognize. But I also like have a lot of love for it as well. Like I'm not ashamed. It's not like I want to take it down. It's like there's still a lot of I feel very proud of kind of what I did and accomplished at that age, I guess. So I kind of look back at it like that. But when I see like videos of me on tour or me like doing
Oh my God.
like interviews and something, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like that's a different person. It's like that is just, and it is like you kind of have that protective sense over it as well. It's like, wow, like, he had really no idea what was going on. But I think my relationship with it now, I'm also like grateful that I kind of have this experience still at my age, like, 23, about to turn 24 with almost 10 years of experience in the industry and still feeling like it's the start of my career, even like that I think is a special thing.
Do you have, because I relate so much to what you were saying.
Of course,
and like, of course, there's a lot of healing that needed to be done in order for us to be like proud of what happened in the past. But at the same time, like I do struggle the same way just watching videos, especially like interviews. What I said in the past, because it's so long ago and we're humans, like we're going to evolve and our thoughts are going to change. The way we look at life is going to change. And so do you have struggles like that in moments too sometimes still? Like almost contradicting something that you said because you completely changed?
I think so, yeah. I think I was also like, very heavily unmedia trained. Like,
okay, love that for you.
like, I think they tried to. But like in those interviews, I literally was just saying the first thing that came to my head, and I was just being as honest as possible.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think I can kind of stand with a lot of the stuff that I was saying at the time. Like I don't think I was regurgitating anyone else's words, which is a nice. I'm not sure how you feel about that, but I definitely look back and even now I'm definitely still probably contradicting a lot of the stuff that I said, but I think I'm not struggling with that because I think everyone can kind of see that it's two different people, that it's someone growing up. I don't think anyone's really taking what a 15-year-old in an interview is like saying without a grain of salt, you know what I mean? Like it's just thoughts, and interviews are usually the same 5 questions anyway over and over again. So it's probably better I switch it up.
Yeah, but that's what's like, I think, very brave of you that you were able to do that at that age. And also because I think it shows your personality, like what you have within you. Because I think you can be thrown in the same situation if it was somebody else. For example, me, because I was such an anxious kid when I was little. I think I would beg for media training just because I feel so like naked if I'm not prepared, and that has a lot to do with like your early childhood, like the environment, right, that we're raised in, and who are the people that inspires us to be who we are. Like, what would you say are your early inspirations? Not right now, like the little you.
I don't know. I think like my whole family, when it came to like personality, like I was definitely just a sponge to like what my parents were and like what my sisters were. Like musically, that stuff changes a million. Like this is kind of no like point kind of going into that. But it's, I don't know, in terms of like who I wanted to be, and as of when I became an artist, there was a lot of those sort of like, I don't know, very, very true to themselves artists. I don't know, like Tyler the Creator, or like, I don't know, I grew up around the same time as like Billie Eilish. And I like loved her vibes in interviews, and I was just like, was very inspired by that. Just like how she held herself like in the industry, like similar age as me, and like doing these things obviously at a massive scale. But like a lot of those artists, definitely inspired me just like how to move as an artist, and how to be, and how to treat other people, and how to kind of feel confident in yourself and in your own kind of sense of self. Even though I had no idea who I was and had so much riddled with uncertainty and like unintention and kind of whatever I did, even artistically. But I kind of had those inspirations just to like, stay grounded, I guess.
There's such a rebelliousness to that though. Like I feel like the way, and the artists that you just mentioned also are known to be like very free in themselves, right? So I can see why the way you think right now, like how that was formed by these inspirations, that makes sense. But did you have moments like, my worst question as an artist is somebody asked me like, so who are you? Like, what is yourself? We're, at the end, they were humans, right? So we constantly evolve and we constantly change. So I think that's kind of the worst question somebody can ask me right now.
Yeah, true. I agree.
Yeah, and I heard some of the songs that are out of your album right now. Your whole album's called Kicking My Feet and Screaming.
Yes.
Is that how you're going through life right now, or like?
Kind of. I mean, like Kicking My Feet was like the first half of it, which is like that by itself is kind of talking about, love and kind of the giddiness of it all, and kind of like leaning into like feeling a little bit cringy as like, especially like a guy kind of talking about their feelings. Like there's, I always just thought a song wasn't worth writing about unless I was like whining about something, or like, complaining, or there was some sort of negative twist, or there was some sort of like yearning in like a bad way, or being broken up with or something. And I don't know why I was just writing so many songs my whole life just about that. And then I kind of realized that like this whole idea of like kind of kicking your feet was something that I thought was a little outside of my comfort zone. I think that's why I kind of wanted to run straight towards it. It was just like, this is something I haven't really talked about, just like how love can be a good thing. Wow, shocking. And then I wrote a lot of songs about that, so that's where Kicking My Feet came in. And then the kicking my feet and screaming kind of added a little bit more depth to it.
Yeah.
And how that kind of brings some more negative connotations to it of like, you know, feeling agitated or feeling a little lost or feeling, I don't know, just almost like you're kind of falling a bit on your face, like a little like, I don't know, confused as well, kind of like what's going on. I kind of wanted to bring some nuance to like the second part of the record,
right.
Which was, I guess, a lot more in my comfort zone to really write songs about, you know, stuff that wasn't all, you know, happy and cheesy, I guess. But I think, yeah, that's where I love these two records together, because it kind of has some sort of natural progression into like realism and realistic sort of relationships.
But why I ask also is like being a like guy artist, like male artist is so different too, because you started really early too.
Yeah.
And like when I started early, because I probably have a different experience with you, because as a female body as well.
Of course.
And that whole relationship with like, yes, we put out our internal artwork all the time, but externally too, we also put that out.
There's also just so much more like unnecessary discourse on women's bodies and artists, like far, like 20 times more than men. So it's like,
but then still, like, I think men also experience something like that that's just not spoken enough about. So was there any moment in your, like, because you started so young, that you became really aware of things, or just all the distractions outside of the internal work?
No, not really. I never really thought about it. I never got like super like lost in any like the discourse or even just like external like chat, you know, around me. Like I was pretty well, I don't know, I feel very lucky and almost arrogant saying that I was I was like very well removed from it, and I genuinely I wouldn't find myself looking at comments or just like you know, of things trying to bring me down or like things to bring up insecurities. It's like I always found my fans kind of did it for me in a loving way. Like my fans were always kind of like making fun of me in like in a friendly way. And I always found that it's like, then I could imagine like a troll trying to like comment on one of my posts, like being like, I'm gonna make fun of this guy, and then realize all the comments are just like all of my fans like saying that like this looks so stupid, or like, oh my god, like bro, what are you doing, like you know, like those sorts of things. It was like a, you know, like a family member telling you that you're like doing something cringy or something, and I had that, and I always like took that with like so much love that I think I was kind of lucky that I got a little bit shielded from all that. So yeah, I'm not even sure if that was your question, but that's kind of where my mind went.
Of course. Like, I just wanted to pick your brain on that too, because I do feel like a lot of like male artists don't get asked that question as well. And it just shows like everybody's experience is so different, right? It doesn't have to be something that I wanted out of you. It's something that you feel about and your experience with that. Like I was saying, before we started, I was saying that we were matching today. Like we're wearing an all black going on. Like, how's your relationship with like fashion wise? Like, as an artist, like, how is that?
I am massively inspired by fashion, and like I really do get a massive kick out of working with stylists and working with brands and trying different things and like evolving in fashion and like figuring out new ways to express myself in that way, and kind of like, yeah, just like being very free with it and not giving myself too many limitations of like what I would wear and like what I feel comfortable wearing and what I don't. Like I think everyone has got their own style and everyone's got their own sort of like, you know, silhouettes that they gravitate to, or like colors, and I used to just like try and mimic other people, and just like when I was a kid, especially kind of growing up in the industry, like I just wanted to wear all the coolest brands and like just slap it all over like my clothes and just like that was fashion to me. And that made me feel good at the time, because it made me feel like, you know, I was more important, or like made me feel like I was older than I was, or that I had some sort of like knowledge that other people didn't. I don't know. And then I think as I grew up, I realized that it is just about like purely about how comfortable you feel in the actual clothes, and like if it brings you confidence or not, that is kind of all that matters. But I think I found less and less confidence of just like wearing, you know, brands, or just like trying to fit in or trying to mimic other people, because that's what I got self-conscious about, mimicking other people, that I've kind of found my own sort of style and and lane that I kind of stick to now that, I'll, that I feel very comfortable with, and but still, want to test the boundaries of.
Where do you like to shop in Seoul?
I don't know which places they're called. I know the brands like Post Archive. I went there yesterday. Ada Era is one of my favorite brands. I'm trying to think of some others.
Like area-wise,
I have no idea what areas.
Oh, I'm gonna kind of tell you where to go then.
Okay, please. Yeah, I think I just kind of follow a brand and then kind of walk around there. But I don't know. My geographic sense of Seoul is pretty poor.
You've been here often though, like.
I have, which is bad. It's like I just know I know kind of certain things like around like where the river is, but I don't anything else. I don't know.
It's a city that you always car around, but at the same time, it's an amazing place to walk. So I think you should definitely try just randomly walking around at night.
Okay.
It is the most safest place to do that.
Yeah,
as well.
True, exactly.
Yeah. There's this thing like I do all the time at night when I feel because you love feeling free. You would love this.
Yeah.
Just go on the bridge, and then there's walk pathways next to the cars.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds chaotic, but it's actually amazing. Sunset time and it's getting dark. The weather's breezy. If you're a biker, you can bike as well. But just blasting music and walking down that bridge is such a soul thing to do.
Wow.
So, and it's really safe to do that anywhere, anytime. So.
That's crazy. That's a pretty rare. You can kind of walk around at night, especially as a woman. I'm sure you probably feel like this is one of the only places in the world you can do that.
It's the only place, I think. 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I walk my dog at 3 in the morning sometimes if I can't sleep. And in the dark alleyways, just blasting music in my ears.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not something you can do anywhere else. And yeah, you said New York brings the I can wear whatever the fuck I want kind of energy. And you're staying in Sydney right now. How does that feel?
Sydney, it's interesting because that's my home, that's where my family and friends are. So for me, that is how can I have the best fitted simple clothes all the time. I've got to find the most perfect white t-shirt. I've got to find the most perfect pair of jeans. I need to find the best possible sneakers or simple sneakers.
Okay.
Or even because there's a lot of swimming, everyone kind of goes outside. It's you got to find some amazing shorts, which is kind of hard. I find shorts difficult. Yeah. But I think we do it well over in Australia, our summer wear.
Is it it's most of the time warm, right?
Yeah.
And I saw that you're from England, though? You were
born
there?
I was born in the UK.
And then you moved?
Yeah, I moved when I was very, very young to Sydney, yeah.
Do you remember a little bit? Or?
A little bit. So I go back a lot as well. Obviously, I got a lot of family still in England. Again, I definitely dress very different in England too. It's fun.
Okay, so everyone's gonna catch you in a different outfit.
No, literally, it's crazy. It is. I've realized. I thought it was a people thing, but no, it's a city thing.
Well, that makes sense. I definitely, when I go back to LA, because I've been living there since recent. I definitely be more free in my choices.
Yeah, it's color. I always color in LA.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And do you go to LA often as well for your music?
Yeah, I live in LA actually most of the year as well. So I kind of I've been in Sydney a little bit this year just because of coming back. I haven't really been living anywhere, but for the past few years, I've spent most of it in LA.
For music?
Yeah, writing music, yeah.
So when your album comes out, are you planning on a tour, or how do you feel about tour in general? Because I think every artist has their own personal relationship to it.
Yeah. I think I miss whatever I haven't done in a while. My whole life has been cycles of writing for a year or 2 years and then touring for a year and then kind of promo for this and then kind of going in back and forth. So I feel ever since at least COVID, I was really missing the road, and then I went on a massive tour in 2023. And I dropped the album, and then I just it came all everywhere. Asia, America, and South America, Europe, and Australia, and then I spent 2 years writing from 2024 to 2026, and at the start of this year, I did the all around America, South America, North America, and then I've had a couple months in between to kind of put the second part of the record out, and then the touring kind of kicks off again in Europe in a couple weeks, in a few weeks,
Damn, it sounds like it's been just go, go, go.
Yeah, but
In
a little bit.
way.
In a good way, yeah. Like I haven't,
course.
like, yeah, I honestly still felt quite calm this year.
That's good.
As much as like, yeah, there's intense parts in the middle of the tour, but I've kind of had like quite a bit of space in between each leg.
Right. How do you find that balance though?
Yeah, I find that I'm very, very good at taking time off, which is like...
Wait, that's so amazing.
Which is so, I know, funny, and like, which people hate to hear, my team hates to hear, because I'm like, literally, I feel like all the other artists that I'm friends with, I know they're all like workaholics, and they like can't get themselves off the road or like out of the studio.
Yeah,
and
which
it's
is
like,
terrible.
Which is, yeah, it's terrible, but that also like, sometimes, you know, that sort of pressure creates great art, but I find, yeah, like, it so easy to just like, especially if I go back to Australia, to take like a week or two just to like completely shut off. And I think I've had like little doses of that this year. I cannot do it in LA. I will say if I lived in LA for the whole like, I could not take a day off in LA. Like I would literally want to like die. Like that was like the worst feeling ever. But in Sydney there's such a slow pace and such a like an uncompetitive sort of like nature there of work that it's like, it's so calming to be there. And I think as soon as I have any sort of time off, right, like any like little break, I'll go to Australia and I'll be able to completely shut off. And that's how I find that balance of like kind of recharging. And then I'll head back to LA and I'm like back into the game, you know, back into the video game. Yeah.
That makes sense. And I like what you said about the video game. Is that how you look at it? Like,
oh, for sure. Especially LA. You land and it's just like you've logged on.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to like kill or get killed. It's like GTA, you know. It's like you got to drive around. Exactly. You got to rob banks. You got to do all the crazy things. Otherwise, someone's gonna catch up and
that's actually
get you with a bazooka.
I have that thing where like this whole mindset came about when I was in LA. But it's funny that you say it's like a video game because I literally living there installed me to think that we are avatars. Like my body is an avatar.
Yeah, LA is absolutely, you land and like, you go into your avatar for sure.
I go into my avatar and that's kind of my relationship with the fashion too. Like I can wear whatever the fuck I want and I should wear whatever I want because it's one avatar for how many years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you mean you're gonna wear boring clothes when you can dress yourself?
You can get so many skins.
Yeah, exactly.
Outfits are just skins in LA, man.
Yeah. So I like what you said about that, and like I love how Sydney feels like that for you, and it sounds like you kind of find that balance and you have that relationship with the physical location, like the energy that it carries.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's created by, what do you think that's created by, the energy of the city?
Yeah, I think it's like the people and like the culture behind like how people view work or success or I don't know, life in general. I think like America in general is like, it's built on just like the rat race and the American dream and everyone's kind of wanting to better each other and like using every relationship as like a stepping stone for the next thing. And it's like people celebrate success so well over there, I guess, as well. Like people are very like competitive, but also once you kind of reach the top, no one's afraid of kind of like saying that they've reached the top and like congratulating them and also kind of wanting to be around people like that. Where in Australia it's the complete opposite. It's like there's some sort of like shame around success. It's like a complete like, you know, I talk about it all the time. It's like the thing called the tall poppy syndrome, where it's just like everyone has to be the same. And if anyone grows a little higher, it's like everyone will, like the whole country will cut them all down to the same height. And it's just like you gotta kind of hide your success, and like even self-confidence though can get kind of misconstrued as arrogance and narcissism in Australia, which it just kind of sucks. But I think if you're there not to work and you're there to just like, you know, relax or just take some time off or to log off the video game, I guess it's perfect. It's perfect because that's just like what you want.
Yeah, Seoul's very similar.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, Seoul's very similar in that way too. Like you have to be humble.
Yeah.
Like you can't talk about your success and achievements, and you know, like you said, with the self-confidence is very similar. But I feel like you're not that kind of person. Would you say like you had?
I think I
was
can.
it through traveling or?
Yeah, I do kind of chameleon to like where I'm at though. Like I definitely like see positives and negatives in both kind of ways of living. Like I think I'm growing to like the American, or like not even the American kind of way, like, but just like that sort of being around people that have that kind of really exaggerated kind of self-confidence in like their art at least, or just like who they are and the music that they make, or it's like if it's directed into their art instead of just like them as a person, then I think it can be really healthy, and being around people like that can be really inspiring.
Are you good at celebrating yourself?
Yes and no. I think I have like insured confidence from a kid, kind of just, you know, being told by, you know, people that, you know, oh, you're great for your age, or like you got a great voice because of this, or mainly just because it was like an age thing.
Yeah.
It was like easy to feel like, wow,
oh my
like
God, I feel you on that.
I'm a prodigy, man. You know, it's like, oh my God, like people are so impressed by what I can do at this age. And then when I became an adult, it started to deplete a little bit. And I'm like, oh wow, now you just have to be good. You can't just be good for your age. So I found it like, I still kind of had that in me though as a kid, of like kind of that sort of confidence of what, you know, the affirmations that I've had in my life is definitely like, I haven't ignored all of it, but I definitely tried to take all of it as well, like with a grain of salt, and make sure that, you know, it doesn't define me.
Yeah, of course. I like what you said about like taking time off fully in Sydney. Sounds like that's your charging time.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna try that out because I'm very go as well.
Do you feel like that when you're here as well?
Oh, 100%. Oh, feeling like rest.
Yeah.
In Seoul, no.
Yeah.
Seoul's very like work and what's next and what's next. And I actually feel even more, it's different pressure. When I was in LA, I kept on feeling like you have to prove yourself, but for what?
Yeah.
You know, like we're all chasing, but what are we chasing? Was missing. I had that struggle when I was in LA. And here, it's more like I feel on purpose, but I'm just running. Nobody told me to run, but everybody's running, so I'm forced to run almost.
Yeah, it's like, and if you're in a crowd of like random people in the street, it's like you're going to start running if everyone else does.
You're going to get hurt,
you know? You don't know what's coming, what's chasing you, or what you're running towards.
Exactly. And I think like slowing down, obviously, it's very important. And to be content, and even for us to be creative in the first place, that yes, there is moments where you're like pushing yourself to the limit, and then something comes out, but I think most of the times I have to be relaxed. Like the whole reason we're laying down right now, and also like when I'm writing, also sometimes I just have to like do, my friend calls it belly time. You just like lay on the floor and physically be free and be in different shapes of your body, like weirdly positioned in order to come up with different ways.
Do you have like hobbies and stuff that's like unrelated to music or work at all, that like you can delve into, that like kind of take your mind off it, that like give you that sort of recharge? Or
100%.
grounding?
It's crocheting.
Nice.
I crochet the shit out of my life. I make everything by crochet like, in my house. And I started that for my mental health, actually.
Of course.
And so I think, do you have something like that?
Mine is like sport.
Okay. Mine is like sport.
Yeah, I know. It's very like, I don't know, like getting, like I feel like very non-competitive in like my job, or when I'm creating, or when I'm like touring, or when I'm kind of working, like, but I feel like when I go, like if I'm like playing basketball with my friends, or like I'll join random like football leagues no matter where I'm at in the world. Like I'll just like find a forum and I'll just like show up to like a pickup game of like 11-a-side like full football or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like tennis, like whatever it is. Like I'll just do whatever that is like I can physically exert myself to like exhaustion.
Damn.
And like live and breathe like I am a professional. And like all the gear, no idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'll go so hard, so hard for like a couple hours. And I do not think about music, or I don't think about anything creative even. It's so like tribal.
You're just an athlete.
Yeah, I'll just pretend that I'm like a full, I'll have this sort of like,
Are you a sore loser?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'm like an even worse winner. I know, I just like, that is my escape though. Like that is what, if I can find those little pockets of like, but it also is all based about just like physically exhausting myself.
Exactly.
Like that gives me more energy to mentally exhaust myself.
Yes.
Like, because I don't know. I have no idea why. It's like, and so now I also just took up like running, like a couple years ago.
Okay.
So like if I'm on tour, if I just feel like pent up or feel so mentally exhausted or just like so depleted, like mentally, I'll like try to run 10 miles like as fast as I can, and I'll feel so much better. It's like I almost need that sort of physical exhaustion, because my job is so mental, and obviously that can tap into physical exhaustion when you're like tired from flying or performing. I'm sure when you were touring, it was so exhausting because all like the dancing and like rehearsing. I'm sure that's like a whole nother level. But because my kind of performance isn't really like that, I need to kind of physically exhaust myself and have it be some sort of competitive like nature to it, to like, I don't know, recharge in ways.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And but when I was on tour with the group, we would do like heavy choreo for 2-3 hours. It was heavy choreo, like Cirque du Soleil style.
That's not
like flipping and shit.
Could not be me.
Yeah. But then even that, like when you're physically drained because of the high adrenaline, getting off of the performance, I actually had to exhaust myself even more sometimes, like, on top of that. Like you feel like your body's dead and you can't move it, but because your brain is on a crazy adrenaline,
from the fans and just from in general being on stage.
Sometimes I would just like do jumping jacks in my hotel room, trying to like put my body to sleep, because it's so hard to shut down this.
That's crazy.
Isn't that's so crazy about human body though. That's like an adrenaline thing.
Adrenaline's like a crazy, like, I don't know.
So obviously before I listened to the tracks, when I just looked at the album and I saw Kicking My Feet and Screaming, I thought it was about rage. I thought it was going to be about anger, the rage, but then when you explained that you wanted to write something like about the giddy love, like that just hit me like, wow, what was wrong with me to instantly go there?
No, I think there's like with the album cover as well, it's very much, it's giving a lot of rage, and I think there's definitely songs in both of the records that have that initial feeling of rage or just like anger, but also like I think it all kind of comes with something a bit of tongue-in-cheek, and it always is like not taking anything too seriously either. So I think I it's funny, it definitely does sound like it's about rage. I literally have a song called Hate Myself. That's like the second single, which is definitely like kind of playing into that rage, but for the most part I think it's kind of covers a lot more bases.
I love that, because it's not just one dimensional, there's depth to it, right? And emotions are always, you can feel two things at the same time. Of course, that makes total sense. Now I'm really, really excited for the album to come out.
Thank you.
I'm definitely gonna hear Hate Myself first. Yes. That's gonna be the first track I click on. And before we go, if you want to say anything to everyone that's watching.
Oh, thank you everybody for watching this therapy session. This has been incredible.
Did you just hit the thing?
I did. I'm so sorry.
Your arm is so long.
My bad.
That has never happened before.
But
so funny.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. And yeah, if anyone wants to listen to some new music, June 12th, my new album will be out, Kicking My Feet and Screaming.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Hey.
See ya.
See ya. We do have a little last thing that we're
gonna say. Yeah.
I'm gonna say keep it slow, and we say lay low.
Okay.
Okay, so 5, 6, 7. Keep it slow,
lay low.
Bye.
Bye bye.